Okay, Crazy Frank here. Here's a few of the AR-15s that a couple of them I'm building and a couple of them I'm working on for customers. I want to talk to you today about the buffer in an AR-15. And I was going to use the term misconception, but that's probably not the right word, but maybe a misunderstanding. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you about the buffer. The AR-15, as you know, it doesn't have to be, but the majority of them are a gas system. And the length of your gas tube affects the amount of gas pressure, the ammunition that you shoot, whether you're shooting 5.56 or 223. There's 10,000 difference between the 5.56 and the 223 copper units of pressure. I don't really understand what it means, but they're a much more powerful round, and obviously you get more gas pressure. So when the gas pushes the bolt back, it hits the buffer and goes into the stock. That's what the buffer spring does. It allows a place for the bolt to go into, and then the spring pushes it back to chamber your next round. So there's many things that affect the spring and the buffer that you need. I've got 3 bolts here to show you. This is a stainless bolt, and I can't tell you the weight on it now. I think it's 11.3 or 11.4 ounces. This one's 11.7, and this is a bolt out of a Bushmaster. They don't use this design anymore. It had an exposed firing pin, and when it cocked the hammer back, it actually hit the firing pin on the way back, and it was hard on the firing pin and hard on the retaining clip. But it's a much lighter. It's only 10.3, I think. So the weight of your bolt is going to affect what spring and what weight buffer you need. The round that you're shooting affects what spring and what buffer you need. So if your friend has a aftermarket spring in his and he's just tickled to death with it, great, but it may not be the right one for your gun because there's so many variables. The first thing you need to do with the buffer that you have in your AR is put 1 round into your magazine and fire it. It's supposed to lock open on the last round. The bolt should lock open. If it doesn't lock open, if it closes, maybe you have too stiff of a spring. It's not letting the bolt go all the way back and catch. And you would have, this is not completed yet, but this would be your bolt release right here, and you should have to push that to close the bolt on the last round. So that's the first thing you need to test. Obviously, if it's going all the way open, not short stroking, then you have a spring that is not too stiff. But maybe it's too soft. Now what I've done is I take and put a little piece of clay, I roll up a little ball of clay, put it on the end of the buffer, put it in, fire around. If it's flat, it's too soft. So you have to find the happy medium. Your ammo, the first thing I would do is I would find an ammo that I liked and my gun liked. If I've got nice groups, if I've got an MOA that I'm really happy with, then I would stick with that ammo, do my testing to see if I have the right buffer for that ammo, and if I find something that's better, my group is going to even improve more because I'm going to take some of the recoil out. You can get back on target quicker. So it just, there's so many variables. I just don't like the fact that people say, oh, this aftermarket buffer, this is the answer. This will make your gun just so much better. It may not be the right buffer for your gun. It might be too. I'm not saying it's not. But you need to know the reason for changing the spring and the buffer. It has to do with the weight of the bolt, the ammo that you're shooting, and there's all these variables. The length of your gas tube. There's just so many things. So don't jump to conclusions and run out and spend your money on a aftermarket buffer and buffer spring that may not be the right thing for your gun. So I'm just trying to make it clear in your mind what the buffer does and what affects the one that you need. So that's it. Simple, but anyhow, Crazy Frank signing out.